Guys, it's Debbie Potts, and I'm recording a podcast with you to catch up on what I've been doing the last few months as I stopped recording podcasts since the summer, and it's now suddenly November. And I had to step away to kind of reassess what drives me to do this podcast, as it costs me money. I'm not a major podcaster that has sponsors and has hundreds of thousands of downloads. I'm just me doing this because I want to help you, the driven, ambitious, high-performing individual and athlete, to avoid going down that hole that I did years ago, starting in 2013, when I was doing all the right things. I was doing fasted workouts. I was doing the bulletproof fat coffee. I was very low carb. I was fasting. I was doing keto before we even knew about it. So I've done all that. And that was almost over 10 years ago. And then my adrenal exhaustion hit me in 2013. I was forced to quit Ironmans and 50K races and marathons, all the endurance stuff I love to do, because I was broken and I haven't been the same since. So my mission is to help you. The podcast I've had since 2011. If you followed us from the beginning, we've had a lot of name changes, but John Smith and I started Fit, Fat, Fast in 2011 and had amazing guests on the show. We had 100 episodes with all these people that were on the show before they were huge, as Vinnie Tortorich, Jimmy Moore. We had Ben Greenfield and all these other top experts on low carb and fasting and keto and fat adapted processes, metabolic efficiency, metabolic flexibility. So we have all that in the archives on my website, debbiepotts.net, if you want to go back and search for Fit, Fat, Fast, the first 100 episodes. From that time frame, John wasn't able to continue the podcast. We lost the host name. I had to restart, and had this great idea on a car ride to Whistler once that what's a name for a new podcast? Well, we thought, shut the front door. Like, all this stuff's shocking information. Let's do that. So it wasn't actually the best idea. And over time, I had some consults with mentors as Sean Croxton, like, what's my brand? It's the holistic method, training the whole you from the inside out to improve your ability to burn fat, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. So why not call the podcast The Whole Athlete? And then I got a letter January 2020 from a Whole Athlete gym in San Francisco, a cease and desist letter. So I had to change the name, and which was fine. Went to the Low Carb Athlete, which is kind of what we've been talking about for many years, 10 years, about how carbs are not as needed as we used to think, and not all carbs are bad. And we're not saying zero carbs for an athlete, and talking about, what is good for you as an individual. How much macronutrients of fat, protein, and carbs do you need to optimize your fat burning machine? That is our natural gas tank we should be accessing. So anyways, I had to step away the last few months and reassess, should I quit? Should I do this podcast anymore? Because I don't have the numbers that I need to get sponsors. I don't really have the motivation or the finances to hire someone to make it bigger and better, and to fine tune all the editing and the social media presence and all that. When we started 10 years ago, there was barely any podcasts as there are today to choose from. And to focus on the endurance athlete, the triathlete, the marathoner, the ultra runner, people that are doing endurance sport that are like me, type A, AAA. I'm not as intense as I used to be. I learned the hard way, but those are my people. You are my person listening to me probably now, that we need a little support. We have a little different niche to go into, and how we can really improve our performance, but look at the aging process. Are we doing what we're doing right now? Is it good for us in the future? What is my future self going to be like 10 years from now? I just turned 50 last week. Am I doing what I'm doing now that's going to improve how I'm feeling at 60, 70, 80 years old? I'm more interested in that than hammering myself in the ground and damaging myself for the future me. And I know I coach for Ben Greenfield, and he has kind of transformed himself over the years. If you've been following him, and really getting out of the Spartan races that he was doing and competing at high level there, but also before that Ironmans, and how it really impacted his health and longevity. So kind of you learn from your own experience. We follow our journey. Now this is our passion and our purpose to help you avoid going through that downhill spiral and creating that metabolic chaos in your body. So I'm going to kick off this little intro to the podcast returning January 2022 with some information on fasting. So that is kind of my focus right now, because as a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, FDN, and nutritional therapy practitioner, functional NTP, I do lab testing with clients and correlate that information with their signs and symptoms of our nutritional therapy analysis. I look at what I call the holistic method, working on nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, movement, digestion, gut health, and more happiness and hydration. So lessons learned, how many female athletes that I know that I've been helping are fasting too much, eating too low carb, because they're like me, the old me, that we tend to take those guidelines that we get from other fasting podcasts and blogs and take that information and apply it to our own life when we're already driven, living life as a race, pushing the envelope too far. We add in fasting, which is great. I'm all for fasted. But do we need to go that long fasting? When should we learn how to break our fast? When should we eat before a workout? What type of workout would we create more damage by not eating and improve our performance and maybe speed up fat loss if we did eat something? So much to go into. There's not a lot of research for the female. A lot of the research is done on the men. I'm trying to get some different experts coming on the show the next few months. I'm booking out people through the winter season and getting some experts to explain, as Dr. Dan Plews had a good study on fasting and exercise. And then we know Dr. Stacy Sims has her opinion of fasting's bad, and her nutritional information is going to be different. And so everyone's going to have different opinions. My philosophy is that N=1. Experiment. I have NutriSense on, a CGM. And I think it's really important to test and not guess. Get your labs test, get a full thyroid panel done, get your GI stool test, a GI map or Genova Diagnostics, get a nutrient test. I did food zoomers from Vibrant Wellness and tested my sensitivity to wheat, to corn, eggs, and dairy, and a food sensitivity panel. You don't know what you don't know. So test and not guess. It costs money, but I spent years trying to figure out what was wrong with me. I had mold toxicity. I had pathogens, parasites, bacterial overgrowth, yeast, candida. You get it all when your defense systems are down. So athletes, we are not invincible. I bet all of you have leaky gut at some level. If you exercise over 45 minutes, if you exercise in the heat, you are probably having damage to your gut wall lining. And I know so many people have H. pylori in their stomach, their organ in the stomach, and that they're not able to digest protein and break it down, and having their first line of defenses being gone, or their guards are not as many. So you get a little more bacteria, bad guys entering in. So let me go into my screen here and share some things on fasting for athletes to get us started on a new journey. So I wrote all this in a blog on debbiepotts.net on the podcast. So how much fasting is too much? Stress on your body is what I like to look at. Like, what is going on in my fasting experience to have the right amount? So there's some different guidelines that we want to choose to play with and see how we respond. So I have all this in the Low Carb Athlete podcast fasting blog on my website. So here's a good study. Women burn more fat for a longer period of time if they eat before exercise and don't eat right after. Men who fast before exercise, then don't eat after exercise, tend to burn more fat. And this is from Ben Greenfield did a seminar with Dr. Pompa and has this in a podcast in his show notes. You can find in the link here on this website blog I have. So it's so fascinating. When women are given a little bit of carbohydrates before a workout, I would suggest Vespa is my favorite, just a small amount, because I'm not going to eat solid food and go work out because I'll be throwing up. So if women eat a little bit of carbohydrates before a workout, and I haven't found what exact amount that is, before they work out, then they go out, they do a workout, then they fast after the workout, they actually burn more fat. Men are the opposite. If they don't eat before a workout and they eat following the workout, then they burn more fat. So as the article says, we tend to see a little bit of difference in the sex response to this. Now you have to realize, always look at the study, who's it done on, because most all the studies are done on men, not women. And they're usually like 20 to 30-year-olds. This study was done on lean trained individuals. So if you are a female athlete that's pretty lean, you might be in this category that you want to have a little something before you work out. Because I know my clients I've been helping, they're not eating anything and they work out, and their workouts higher heart rate, they're causing, in my opinion, more damage to their hormones and their thyroid health with this fasted workouts every day. So I think we need to be cautious as females, especially premenopausal and menopausal, where we're placing our nutrients. So before or after. So other thing it says is that if you fast after the workout, you'll see a good increase in fat oxidation after the workout. So women can try that, but know that men are going to be different than women. So there's different links here I put in the blog. Stacy Sims, on the other hand, is not for metabolic not metabolic efficiency. She's into not fasting and having a little more carbs. And there's an article I put in my blog here you can go find, is the damage it could do to not eating anything. So look at her article. Again, it's all N=1. I don't think there's not one size fits all approach. There's not exact science on the nutrition for you as an individual. I like on a longer workout for myself to do Vespa before my long run and have water, and I do coffee, put sea salt in my water, and then my coffee drink in the morning. I do add some collagen creamer in there as picnic, or I have some other ones that can add in vital proteins and some Keon aminos. I think is great. My water with some Redmond sea salt, and have a little something. I think what happens, we feel guilty because we are that type of individual, that if we fast before the workout, and I'll stop sharing my screen, but if we fast before the workout, we feel like we're stronger, we're more invincible, versus if I have a little something that has calories in it, am I cheating? Am I breaking that fast? And sometimes it's okay to break that fast. Have some MCT oil, collagen creamer in your coffee before a workout, and have some water with some aminos and sea salt, and see how you feel. So I say, experiment, try it out. Is your workout better? Or if you are not even losing weight, is what I started thinking about. Why am I doing this, a prolonged fasting, when I'm, still would go for a swim and a bike ride, low heart rate exercise, but I could go long. Yes. Hey, I cannot eat all day. And you can brag about, oh, I'm fine, I can do all this exercise and I haven't eaten yet. Well, is that good for you? Are you causing more damage to your body and adding more stressors to your already overfilling bucket of stress? Or is it helping you? Are you losing weight? Are you doing it to lose weight? Because I see a lot of people that do fasted exercise and they're not losing weight. And then there's, of course, those are mostly females. And then the men can do it. So women, you might want to try adding that stuff beforehand. Try adding a little MCT oil and some aminos and 2, drink before you work out and test it out. But I think N equals 1. If you want to join in my journey of 2022 Sense of Space Age podcast on the Low Carb Athlete podcast, follow along, help spread the word for your other athletic friends if they want to learn more how to increase their ability to burn fat, performance, and longevity. We'll talk all about that coming up here. So stay connected, debbiepotts.net. I'm the Low Carb Athlete on Instagram and a Facebook page. So I look forward to talking to you more. Thanks for listening.